Well, hello everyone. Here to show you right here is like for the brand new grade book, and like top by for for I guess you say third page it is for for the what you call the third edition right here but on your hand for like if we call it part three, but on your hand that you have right here for 100% sure, such as whenever we are looking at our work and thinking about this to where any updates or anything like that for study and review. And sometimes we weren't to where that whenever we're being tested though whenever we're being tested and thinking about necessarily to where that for study review that they're thinking about is to where that that really does that usually buy us at least 15-20 seconds more time just to say are you sure about that, you think it's that one, take a, and I know that they say yeah, whenever you take a guess at something to where the teacher used to tell me sometimes too is why don't guess, try to try to think, think real hard, to try to study about, think, and then sometimes they are like, yeah, that really, is there anything wrong with taking a guess on something? So whenever we take a guess on something, we may think necessarily to where, oh, okay, well, I'm guessing it's going to be that, where I'm only 50% sure it's that's the correct answer, stuff like that. So thinking about as to where that anything about studying and reviewing, and as well as anything on a grade book, and you're like Warren to where yeah, that anything from most recent, from most updated information, is like really, looking forward to that, or we looking forward to where knowing about. I'm like, yep, well, didn't do so well, or you looked over it but then still didn't do so well. The things that maybe we want to we feel like sharing and what we want to talk about, that type of stuff. So we're like Warren to where for 100% sure, for 100% sure for how much we study, and just thinking about is to where that yeah, for like for Matthew McGuire, and think about right here is like Warren to where whenever we have a grade book or a portfolio, and thinking about is to where yeah, that the work that needs to come from us. So anything that we may have learned about, if it's going to be about a test or final review or anything like that, we may be pretty nervous about it and thinking about as to where yeah, that if we do very well or if we don't do so well, and it's all about, it seems like it's it really just needs to come by as to where maybe how well the school, how well the class, how well the teacher knows you too, as well as for how well what is communicated. So a lot of that work, we may say that yeah, that nearly 100% of the work needs to come from us, to where how much we know, and then knowing about really that we may think that yeah, for how much time and money and effort that we're willing to put in our education forth, and as well as for like for any college degrees, it's like for any degrees in study, and knowing about for what degrees that more likely that we think that we can earn later on in the future. But then thinking about it, for higher education, we may think at some point to where it's too hard, you don't think you're going to be able to do it, but then we look at the Photoshop work, and at the time we weren't to where, what do we call that, to where that we maybe if I were to select right here is the paintbrush right here, I like Warren to where select right here is a layer. You have right here is a for for the paint work right here. Paint bucket. See, go ahead maybe see here with paintbrush. I'm like use right here is the paintbrush, but let's just say right here I'm like Warren to where that have right here is like with the paintbrush though. I'm like yeah, that paintbrush, go ahead and add just a little bit, let's see here if I can if it's going to show. But anyway, well, we'll work right here like with the, it's like with the pencil tool, go ahead and work right here with the pencil. But like warrant to where anything that more likely that we're doing, and then warrant to where it really, how'd you do that? So we're like warrant to where we may think that while we're working on something, and then thinking necessarily to where, oh, you don't think anything of it other than it's slop, it's slop. But then later on that somebody that may see that and like warrant to where that is really neat looking. I'm like, yeah, What about it? Yeah, that right there. Yep, let's see, what is that right there? But so you're like Warren to where you got this marking right here, and then that marking right there that may represent it's like for good luck, or there could be another symbol right here. Draw that right there, for the C right there, and like Warren to it between the C and then the G right there. And thinking about is like really, how did you draw those curves and then those angles and stuff like that? So you're like Warren to where that really, I'm like, what does it matter anyway? I'm like, it ain't nothing. So we're like Warren to what does that usually mean whenever we do stuff without thinking about it? So, what does that usually mean whenever we do stuff without thinking about it? To where that we draw octagons and circles and stuff, but then sometimes we don't even think about it. So think about it to where whenever we look at our name and like thinking about, yep, go ahead and highlight your name right there. Go ahead and underline your name right there, and like thinking about, how did you do that? How did you write like that? How did you write with that tool right there? But other than that, like I talk about say for study review, and thinking about is to where really that we may find some things that maybe we can do, and then that like weren't to where what does that usually mean? And then we may think that yep, it's all about muscle reflex, it's stuff that you automatically do, and then you may not realize that you had that skill at the beginning. So you're like Warren to where there's a type of name for it. Like if that's going to be maybe in the grade book, or if that's what you call a special special edition for education students or something like that. So and then if anybody were to wonder to where go ahead and put your initial right here, like put your initial such as MAT. So like thinking about that's about usually about how I would sign my name back in those days. But anyway, talk about there is like for us for study review and knowing about really that if anybody were to be testing me and thinking about it as to where that really that if you guess an answer and then you may think, oh wait a minute, no that don't look right there. I like see here. I'll go ahead and correct something there. So it seems like to where it's like it may seem like back and forth, but then on your hand too, that really is there anything wrong with just looking over something before you actually turn in, and then you may see that oh yeah, something don't look right here, or that something seems wrong. So I guess that's really the whole part about for maybe it seems like a whole part about for improvement for education is that we see something wrong where then we may still have time to correct it before we actually turn it in, or that it's just think about ways to buy us a little bit more time. Just take a few seconds, 20 seconds or so, just to kind of review it, and it's something that don't look right, something that looks pretty correct to you. And the way I think about it, though, that's really just the best of the best experience is knowing about that. For anything that we're trying to work on is to where that it's possible that we may have a little bit more time, maybe about 30 more seconds more time just to kind of look over something, and if something don't look right, and then we can maybe see about try to correct it. So I guess it's all about is to where see our mistakes before something comes on to where it's finally graded. So we may think that whenever it is finally graded, and it's like, well, you can't really go back and change anything. But on your hand too, it's like for best of luck, for everybody experience as well as for 100% sure. It's like 100% sure what the goal is. What is the goal? It's like to show the best of our work and our ability for to work towards a good education. And thank Maddie May 25. Thanks for watching.